Not appreciating the power of habits, not understanding how habits are formed or broken is the main reason why we struggle. Not understanding how your habits affect you will make you not get to your destiny. It will prevent you from achieving the goals that you set yourself out to do. So it's important for us to understand the power of habits and understand how habits are formed. Today I would like to talk about habits. And more I would like to focus on our environment. Because if you're going to break a habit or build a habit, then you have to understand that your environment holds the key. What are habits? Habits are behaviors, are things that we do repeatedly until they become something that we do without really too much thought. They become behavior that we do them subconsciously. They run themselves. They become automated. For example, you don't wake up in the morning and start thinking, how am I going to brush my teeth? Actually, we rarely forget to brush our teeth. Why is that? Because it's a habit. If making your bed in the morning is something that you do when you wake up in the morning without too much thinking, that's a habit. If you go to the gym in the morning or after work and you've made it that something that you do without too much thought, that is a habit. So habits are things that we do without really putting too much thought into them. They become automated. So today, I would like us to talk about the physiology of habits. The first thing that you have to understand is this: all habits begin with a conscious choice. Every habit that you have, if you keenly look back, it began with one day that you decided to do something. And then, over time, it's sustained by your subconscious decisions. So the first time you do a habit, it's something that you think about. And then afterwards, it's something that you don't think about because it's controlled or it's sustained by your subconscious decisions. This means that at the beginning of starting a new habit, it's more challenging. There's more resistance. There's more effort. If you want to break a habit, let's say, for example, you want to break a bad habit, let's say, for example, for smoking, or maybe eating junk food. Starting that process of breaking the habit, it requires more effort, there's more resistance to it because there's a conscious choice that you have to make. But over time, it becomes easier. There's a graph that I want to look at, which is in your screen, and this is called the effort time habit graph. Effort time habit graph. On this graph, we see on the y-axis is effort or resistance, which begins at 0 and increases. On the x-axis is time, from the left to the right, increasing of time. If you look at the red dot, you will see that is at the beginning of a habit, when you start changing your habits. And when you start changing your habit, there's higher resistance. But the more you practice what you're doing, you repeat the behavior over a long time. If you see the blue dot, that means it becomes less resistance. Knowing this will help you with being persistent and consistent in the process of building or breaking a habit, breaking bad habits or building habits that are desired. If you understand that all habits at the beginning are difficult to do or to change, you will understand, okay, it's a matter of time and you can be able to break a habit, or you can be able to break the habit that you desire. That's the first thing, that all habits starts with a conscious choice, but are sustained with a subconscious decision. Understanding this is important, as I said, because you will understand that if you decide today, I can change a habit, it's just a matter of thinking about it. Now that comes with the resistance and more effort, but over time, it becomes easier. Okay? The second thing that I want you to think about is all habits follow a 4-stage loop. And this has been coined to be called the habit loop. If you look at your screen, the first stage of the loop is a cue or a trigger. These are the things that makes you to want to do something. For example, you walk in the house after a long day. What's the first thing that you see? You see maybe your nice, comfortable couch, you see your remote, you see your TV. What do those things make you want to do? Those are called cue or trigger. They make you want to do something. If you are coming in the house, man, maybe you've set your running shoes out there, you can be able to see them. Maybe it creates a desire for you to go to run. So those are called cues or trigger. They trigger a certain action. Now, the cue or trigger goes to the second stage, which is called the desire or craving. Think about, let's go back to that example I just gave. You come from work, you're tired. You see a couch. What does the couch do? It calls for you to come and sit. There's a cue for you to sit down. Or if you're running, if you go to like running, there's a shoe there that reminds you, hey, I need to go for a run. That's how I relax myself. Now that creates a desire in you or a craving in you that will lead to the action. So the third stage of the loop is called action or response. Now you've seen the cue in your environment. All cues are in the environment. When you see the cue, you have a craving or a desire. And the craving or desire will lead to an action. Now that's the step of you sitting down or taking a shoe to go for a run. Okay? Now what will happen after you do all that? Now you've sat down, you've relaxed after a few hours, or you went for a run and now you're back home. What will happen? You'll feel good about maybe what you did. You'll either feel good that you watched TV or maybe bad, or you'll feel good that you went for a run or to the gym. That's called a reward. So the habit loop, all habits follow this 4-stage loop. And this is important. This is important to know because you'll understand that if there's a loop, for me to change this habit or to build a habit, I just need to find my cue or trigger. I need to find what desires are going to be triggered. I need to find what actions or response I'm going to do, or what reward do I need to have in place. So remember that knowing that is important because it's going to increase your awareness of the habits and how the habits are formed. Now, we talked about two very critical things. This is that all habits begin with a choice, conscious choice, and are sustained by a decision. Now, if you think about it, that's the first environment, the environment of our minds, the environment of what we are thinking about. Okay, so it's important to see that all habits begins with a decision in your mind. That you have to check the environment of how your internal environment is, and then now self-awareness, being aware of yourself and being aware of the habit by understanding the habit loop that we just discussed about. And now the third and most critical thing that I want us to talk about is the environment. Now the external environment. I want you to understand this, that our environment is the most potent control point of our habits. I want to repeat that one more time. Our environment is the most potent or critical or powerful control point of any habit. What am I saying? If you want to change any habit or create any habit, you can be able to do it easily when you look at the environment. Let's say, for example, you want to be a person who works out every day or every other day. Okay? You've decided I want to be more healthy. What's the first thing you're going to do? You're either going to buy a running shoes or get your workout clothes. What is going to be very important is for you to stage in your environment that when you come in the house, the first thing that you see is your running clothes or running attires and your running shoes there. If you want to be more healthy, you want to have to be, when you get in the house, you don't see a bowl of cookies, but what do you want to see? You want to see a bowl of fruits. And this is how you design your environment. So environment is important. James Clear in his book, Atomic Habits, this is a must-read book. He said that environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. And he gave a very classic example of how agriculture evolved. It was easy for agriculture to move east to west than it was to move from north to south, because the environment favored, or the landscape favored, the behavior of agriculture. Think about it also. The times that we live in, if you have a phone, holding your phone has been created to be so easily to use, easy to slide. That's an environment that is fostering the habit of you being on the phone all the time. So it's important for us to understand that our environment is the invisible hand that shapes our behaviors, and our behavior turns to habits. Now, understanding this is important because now what we can do now is to become more aware of our environment, and not only be more aware, but to be able to design your environment. And this is why I want to finish by suggesting 3 things that you can do to design your environment so that you can have the desired habits and break the bad habits that you have. Number 1, you have to be aware. Be aware of your environment. What the environment that you are in, the environment that you're living in, what kind of habit is it encouraging or discouraging? So be aware of your environment. Look at your environment. See, this environment, is it helping me to have the behaviors or the habits that I want, or it doesn't? And now you can go ahead and change it. Number 2 is that you can place in your environment the right triggers. Place the right triggers or the right cue. Because now when you have the right cue, now we talked about, again, going back to the example, about you want to have a healthier lifestyle. And you have to have your running shoes where you can be able to see them. You have to have that maybe book that you need to read. Or you're going to have your fruits where you can be able to see them. So it's important for you to see that you can be able to place the right triggers in the right place. Number 3 is that make actions more or less desirable according to how you want to shape your desire, your habits. If you want to break a habit, let's say, for example, you have a habit of eating cookies before you go to bed. You change your environment by doing what? Making the cookies to be more or less accessible. Maybe closing them in a cabinet, or just all entirely not having them in your house. If you are building the habit of going to the gym, then you have to place your clothes where they're supposed to be. So I hope that is going to help you, because when we understand that all habits begin with a choice and they are sustained by our subconscious minds or subconscious decision, we'll understand that we can be able to change our habits. And understanding that all habits follow a loop. The loops that start with a cue is followed by a desire, and then an action, and then a reward, will help you to be able to change the loop and be able to have control in this habit formation. And last but not least, understanding that our environment is the most potent or most critical control point of any habit. It will help you be able to have the habits that you desire and break the habits that you don't want to have. So I hope this was of value to you. If it was of value to you, click the like button. That's going to help this video to be appearing to in many people's pages. And also subscribe so that you don't miss our content that is being released on this platform. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Have a good day. Whatever day you are, wherever you're going to be watching this, have a good time. Bye.